Railtrack's Southern Zone is Britain's busiest railway network. Each day the zone handles more than 8,500 train movements over its 2,890 miles of track. Nearly 750,000 London commuters alone travel our tracks every day. Despite perceptions created by the media, we provide far and away the safest form of passenger transport. You are 6 times safer on a train than you are in your own car. This doesn't, however, mean that we can afford even the slightest complacency, just the opposite. Our primary concern to all of us is the signal passed at danger, or SPAD as it's known. The men and women who drive the trains that run over our system play a key part in reducing the SPAD risk. After all, when a SPAD does occur, it's the driver who is directly involved, either as a result of his or her error or misunderstanding, or as a victim of someone else's error. One thing we can be sure about: no driver gets involved in a SPAD voluntarily. Sitting at the front of a train puts him or her right in the most vulnerable position. In a collision, the driver is the most likely to be killed or injured. In this programme, we'll take a look at some of the common SPAD risks, trying to understand the underlying causes and how to avoid making the mistakes that lead to a SPAD. Before we start to look at specific examples, it's important to understand that the risks we're talking about apply to all drivers, no matter what age or level of experience. There's a commonly believed fallacy that SPADs only happen to the young or less experienced. The actual statistics prove this perception to be completely wrong. So let's begin by saying that none of us can afford complacency. The SPAD risk is there for everyone to be aware of. In this programme, we'll show you some typical SPAD risks. Once you become aware of these risks, you should be able to avoid them in the future. In our first reconstruction, you'll see an example of a very common SPAD risk. As the train runs into the station, we can see that the platform starting signal is showing 1 yellow. The driver has cancelled the AWS and the sunflower is showing the cautionary indication. The platform is on the so-called second man side, so as soon as the train stops, the driver crosses the cab and opens the side window. He hasn't set the DRA because the starter isn't at danger. While he's looking back along the train, awaiting the ready to start signal, a passenger asks a question. He's trying to answer the question when the conductor gives 2 on the bell. Explaining to the passenger that he's got to go, he excuses himself and crosses the cab to start the train. The train is now gathering speed. Has the driver remembered that the last signal was at 1 yellow? The sunflower might remind him, but he's not looking. When the danger signal comes into sight, it's too late. He's simply going too fast to stop. The contributory factors are plain to see. The driver was distracted by the passenger's question. The next signal ahead, the one at danger, couldn't be seen when the train started away. In other words, there were distractions and nothing to remind the driver that the next signal ahead was at danger. But they were reminders. He just didn't pay them any attention. Whenever you stop your train in any station platform that has a starting signal, before you move off, the golden rule is signal, platform, signal, action. In other words, check the signal aspect first, attend to platform duties and receive the ready to start signal, then check the signal again before taking power. Whatever distractions you've encountered, the signal aspect should be the last thing you look at before you prepare to move. Here at Micheldever, on the London to Southampton main line, there's a particular trap for the unwary. Let's join our driver in the cab as we approach Micheldever from Worthing Junction. The next signal is showing 1 yellow. He cancels the AWS in the normal way, and we can see the yellow and black sunflower indication on the desk. Moments later, the train stops in Micheldever station. There are 2 things to take note of here. First, there is no platform starting signal, and second, the next signal ahead isn't visible because of the curvature of the line. The driver carries out his station duties as usual. There are no additional distractions, just looking back and receiving the ready to start signal. The train is accelerating rapidly when our luckless driver sights the danger signal. Once again, the elements of a potential SPAD are plain to see. The distraction of the station stop at Mitcheldever caused the driver to forget the cautionary aspect at the previous signal, and he paid no heed to the sunflower indication when leaving the station. So how could he have prevented this lapse into forgetfulness? There was, after all, no cautionary indication when leaving the station, and the danger signal ahead wasn't visible. In this case, the driver failed to make use of a device provided in the cab for just such a purpose, the Driver Reminder Appliance, or DRA. Had he set the DRA as soon as his train had stopped in the platform, it would have been there as that final reminder of the danger signal ahead when he tried to move off. So in this case, the remedy is simple. Use the DRA. Use of the DRA in this situation is mandatory. Check your rulebook. In this next reconstruction, we'll see the development of a very serious SPAD risk arising from a simple and avoidable misunderstanding. The driver of this departing freight train has his cab ahead of the starting signal. Of course, the signal will remain at danger whatever happens, because the train's leading wheels are occupying the track circuit ahead of the signal, maintaining it at danger. The only way our driver can get authority to proceed is verbally from the signaller. Watch what happens.
Signal box here, over.
Hello mate, this is the driver on train 4404 from Donaldsmore to Calais, standing at Alpha Delta 799. My cab's ahead of the signal, so I don't know if I've got the road or not yet.
Yeah, that's alright mate, I'll get you to shove back when the other bloke's got the road.
Righty-o then mate. Cheers. Bye.
This type of Category A SPAD could have resulted in a very serious collision, but it should never have been possible. The driver and signaller clearly didn't understand each other. They didn't even try. Interestingly, the driver used the phonetic alphabet when giving the train reporting number and signal details, just as he should have done. But when the signaller replied, using sloppy slang language and without repeating the message, our driver just accepted it without further question, and then lapsed into slang himself. Worse still, he didn't really understand what the signaller had meant, and so made a sweeping and disastrous assumption. Neither of them used the correct radio discipline, and neither of them repeated back the messages they were given. Accuracy of communication and understanding is a vital element of railway safety. Every professional railwayman should take pride in oral communication skills, practicing and perfecting them at every opportunity. It's not smart to use slang. Resulting misunderstanding can cause death or injury. Let's rewind the scene and get our driver and signaller to do the job properly.
Good afternoon, this is Ashford Signalling Centre Workstation 5. Please state your message, over.
Hello Ashford Signalling Centre. This is the driver of train number 4404 from Donaldsmore to Calais, standing at Alpha Delta 0799. My train is in advance of your signal. I shall require your verbal authority to pass Alpha Delta 0799 at danger. Over.
Driver of 4404, I understand that your train is in advance of Alpha Delta 799 signal. You do not have authority to move your train. I have signalled a conflicting move. Please stand by and wait further instructions. Over.
This is the driver of 4404. I'm confirming that I do not have authority to pass signal Alpha Delta 0799 at danger. I shall not move my train until I have instructions to do so. I am standing by for further instructions. Out.
Where your leading cab is ahead of the starting signal and the signal is held at danger because your leading wheels have actuated the track circuit, the only authority to move is the authority to pass the signal at danger. In the last reconstruction, the signaller instructed the driver not to move his train and to await further instructions. As the signal in question, Alpha Delta 799, is at the interface of Railtrack Southern Zone and Eurotunnel Administration, when the signaller does authorise the driver to pass this signal at danger, he does so by dictating information which the driver must write down on what is known as a livre formulaire. Let's see what happens.
Good afternoon, this is Ashford Signalling Centre Workstation 5. Driver 4404, please prepare procedure 001. Right, authority is given to driver of train 4404 to pass signal Alpha Delta 799 at danger and proceed at caution to signal Alpha Delta 825. Reason number 4, driving cab ahead of signal, points ahead secured for down goods line. Over.
Driver of train 4404, I confirm. Signal box Ashford, date 090301, time 1330 hours. Authority is given to driver of train 4404 to pass signal Alpha Delta 799 at danger and proceed at caution to signal Alpha Delta 0825. Reason is number 4, driving cab ahead of signal, points ahead secured for down goods. Is that correct? Over.
That is correct, driver. Your authorisation number is Alpha Delta 5 1330. Over.
Okay, my authorisation number is Alpha Delta 51330. Is that correct? Over.
That is correct, driver. Ashford signals out.
But whatever procedure is currently in place, the message here is plain and simple. Don't move until you are 100% sure that you've understood the instructions and you have confirmed you do have the authority. Always use the correct radio procedure, always use the phonetic alphabet, and always repeat back any messages or instructions. Simple as that. In our last reconstruction, we'll look at a particularly common SPAD risk, the so-called start against. This train is driver only operated and has just stopped in a platform where the starting signal is at danger. It's a 10-car train, so he's had to pull right up to the signal. Now he's attending to platform duties, watching the monitors. Once everybody's aboard, he closes the train doors, checks the monitors again, then takes power. But the signal is still on. Immediately beyond the signal, two running lines converge. Although he knew that the signal was on when he stopped, he failed to set the DRA, mistake number 1. Once the train doors had closed and the mirrors and monitors checked for the last time, he completely failed to check the signal aspect before taking power, mistake number 2. The avoidance of this serious SPAD risk involves 2 simple actions. First, always set the DRA in this situation. It's mandated in the rulebook. This action alone would have prevented the subsequent SPAD. Second, always carry out the proper platform routine. Whether you're DOO or you have a guard, it's the same basic drill. Signal, platform, signal, action. Let's just look at that again. When you get the starting bell or the ready to start signal, check the signal aspect first. If the signal is off, check that the platform is clear and it's safe to move. Now check the signal again before taking action. If you follow this simple routine, you'll never have a start against SPAD.
Well, no driver deliberately sets out to have a SPAD incident. yet hundreds of SPADs happen every year. The industry is working hard to try and understand why these SPADs occur, but I think as well there are things that drivers can do themselves to reduce the number of SPADs. First, the use of the driver's reminder appliance. It's crucially important that drivers use the DRA as required by the rule book when stood before a signal at danger or when stationary, having passed a caution signal. It's also very important that drivers check the signal aspect before cancelling the driver's reminder appliance. It's really all about drivers thinking about what they are doing. And then we come on to the use of safety critical communications. There have been so many SPAD incidents caused by misunderstandings between two parties. The use of the phonetic alphabet is crucial, as is getting a proper understanding of the message by repeating it back if necessary. Drivers shouldn't start a train movement unless they are 100% clear about the message. Signals on gantries is another area which can catch drivers out, particularly where gantries are located on curves. Drivers must make sure that they know which signal applies to them. Drivers must also understand that they can be caught out if the wrong signal on the gantry clears to a proceed aspect, and they shouldn't be fooled by that. Again, it's all about drivers thinking what they are doing. And then braking at a caution signal. Drivers should react appropriately at the caution signal and never assume that the following signal at danger will come off. Drivers should also drive in accordance with the defensive driving policy which has been drawn up by their company. These have been shown to be effective in reducing SPADs. And then multiple SPAD signals. Drivers should be aware of which multiple SPAD signals are on the routes that they drive over, and importantly, what the sort of factors are which have led to those signals becoming multiple SPAD and have caused problems for drivers in the past. Finally, I think it's worth pointing out that drivers, although we accept most of them are responsible, conscientious and wholly professional, that they need to accept that there is a responsibility under the Health and Safety at Work Act to act in a way that is safe and ensure the safety not just of themselves but also passengers and railway staff in their care. So use of a device like the driver's reminder appliance, following the company's defensive driving policy, it's not just a railway industry requirement, it's actually a requirement under the Health and Safety at Work Act to comply with legislation.